guys, and welcome back to Q&A the Librarian Way. It's been a little while.
It's been a little while.
Yeah, I'm Julia from Stylish in the Stacks.
And I'm Emily from the Gnoming Librarian.
And not only do we blog together, but we travel together.
And didn't kill each other.
And didn't, no. We drove last week from Indianapolis all the way to Charleston, South Carolina for YALLfest, which is the biggest book festival in the country, possibly the world, and it's only their 4th annual festival, which was really cool, where there were over 60 young adult authors. And yes, we went for a professional reason, because obviously we're librarians, and so there were panel discussions and keynote sessions and a smackdown, but we also went because we're readers.
Yeah.
And we wanted to meet authors.
Yeah. Yep.
And this was just like a fun road trip.
It was a fun road trip. It was kind of a, a reboot a little bit to get excited about something outside of work, to meet some really cool people, which we'll probably talk about a little bit.
Yes.
So, no, it was good.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was very good.
Yeah, so we're just going to talk about our experience, because I think now that we've been, we kind of have a feel for how everything works, and so it's nice to kind of know ahead of time going into it, because they had predicted about 5,000 people would be there, and I don't know if that many people were there, but I mean, it was...
There were a lot of people.
There were a lot of people there. So it's kind of good to have like a game plan in your mind. So.
And if you have that kind of ambition to start something like that, it's something great to go to, and we learned a few things along the way, that what would work and what wouldn't work, and what drove us crazy.
Yeah.
So it's.
But overall, it was such a great experience.
A very good
and I did meet a librarian who's trying to start this in Nashville, Tennessee, which is
really
a lot
cool.
closer. A lot closer. Maybe not as warm, but really cool.
So where do we want to start?
So
it was Friday and Saturday, and Friday they did this thing called the Literary Crawl, Penguin Crawl, and so it was just author signings. So you found out where your authors were going to be, and it was really cool because it was all in downtown Charleston, and they put people in stores. So like Gail Foreman was in a donut shop, and James Dashner was in a toy store, and so they used just different locations. So it was really cool to see the whole community get involved.
Yes, it really was.
And get to see some of those different stores and things that you might never have walked into otherwise.
And they were very close to each other. Everything was on one street, which was so awesome, because obviously we're not familiar completely with Charleston, and so driving and parking would have been really stressful for me. So
and it made it very convenient to get to multiple authors at a time. So we had this 2-hour time span, and we all kind of divided and conquered. We met a couple librarians from Indiana. Hello, Crystal and Angela. We met them down there, and we kind of just spread out to try to see how many autographs we could get.
Yeah.
I started with Sarah Dessen and E. Lockhart, and you started...
I started with James Dashner, which was a 2.5-hour wait just, to get his signature. But, I mean, you kind of expect that for some of the really big names. We had a friend that got Kira Cass that hour.
Scott Westerfeld. Then we went to, Becca Fitzpatrick.
Was it that day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lauren Oliver.
Yeah.
We hit Gail Foreman. I feel like there was another one in there.
I don't think so.
No, I can't remember. It feels like so long ago.
So many of them.
Just a week ago. But it was really cool. And you didn't spend a lot of time with the author, but they didn't just sign and push you out the door either. Like, you had the opportunity to stand and talk, and they're great. Gail Foreman was cracking me up.
She was hilarious.
She's very, I don't want to say hippie-ish, but she's like a hipster. She's just very kind of, laid back and going. And Lauren Oliver was really funny. She was nice. We were in a clothes store for her.
Yeah,
that had
really
a
fun.
wine tap.
Yeah.
I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, you could buy clothes and drink at the same time, which was really interesting. And what's kind of interesting about us, I mean, since we traveled so far, we were not going to take 50 books with us. No. I mean, we just couldn't carry them around with us. It just wasn't plausible. And so we do kind of unique things when we meet authors. Emily, hence she blogs at the Gnoming Librarian. Yeah, she has Mike the Gnome. And so you can go to her blog and see that she has the authors pose for a photo with all of her blogs. She even had some capes for Mike that some of the authors signed.
Awry. So I made capes with book quotes, and no one could catch on to this. And I tried, he already had a cape on. I was trying to explain, no, it'll be a new cape. And nobody got it, so I just Gail Foreman thought she was signing underwear.
Yeah.
I mean, and E. Lockhart stole it.
Yeah, E. Lockhart didn't give it back.
Like,
I think she thought it was a gift.
Yeah, so it's like, you know what, we're going to just nix this. And
yeah.
So I just did pictures.
Yeah, yeah. And then I do library cards. I may have done these before, but I have library cards that I make for the author in a book that they've written, and then they can sign the library card. And this is a lot easier to carry than a whole bunch of books. And these are the ones that I came back with from YALLfest. So I got quite a few signatures, which was really fun. And the authors really like the uniqueness too.
They do.
And it's just neat to see what they write. We will put a disclaimer out there that YALLfest did say a few times, to all the people standing in line, that they wanted you to go to the end of the line if you didn't have a book for the author to sign, because people came and they bought a book and they wanted to make sure that if you bought a book, you got it signed. We didn't always follow that rule, just because we drove 12 hours, and so
and we're librarians, darn it, we buy these.
We do. We buy the books and we support them.
Yeah.
And so we apologize to YALLfest for not necessarily following their rules. However, the authors never once made us feel like we had to wait, or they were more than accommodating. So
they could sign anything.
Yeah, they would really sign anything. I even saw Kira Cass tweet out, "My books have sold out at YALLfest, but I will sign paper. Just feel free to come anyway." So just kind of putting that out.
And YALLfest sold, like she said, sold out. Kira Cass sold a lot of books.
Did.
And they had books for sale in the tents where you got some of the signings. They had the bookstore that is kind of the main sponsor of the event. So they had books everywhere you could purchase. And
they did.
And they had some pre-signed books as well. So if there was an author you didn't think you were going to be able to see, some of them were pre-signed. So you still got to walk away with a signature, which was really cool.
Yeah.
So that was Friday.
Yeah.
Saturday, it started with the keynote.
Yes.
Which
is a ticketed event. You have to buy a ticket for that.
And it was at this music hall right in town, right next to the bookstore, and it was James Dashner and Sarah Zarr. And I have decided that James Dashner is going to become my best friend. This gentleman is a giant dork. He is a giant dork in the best way possible. Oh my goodness, in the best way possible. He was just hilarious, and those two together feeding off each other was really great.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of substance to the keynote. It was more just
there
fun.
wasn't. It was more just kind of Q&A and talking. But it was fun.
But it was fun, and it was fun to see an author that is in the limelight right now and experiences this huge wave of popularity. Yeah. Not that it wasn't before, but with the movie, and to just see this kind of down to earth. Weird guy. That is just really cool. Yeah. So that was neat.
Yeah, and then following the keynote, they have a day just full of panels, and so you can choose what panels you want to go to and hear, a bunch of romance authors talking, or a bunch of people talking about the craziness that they go mentally through when they're writing a book, and so you could pick and choose. We personally did not go to any of the panels. Our friends from Indiana did, and that was just a personal choice. We just wanted to meet as many people as we could, and that to me is really fun. But if you needed a break and you wanted to go hear authors talk, that was available as well. I think because we had tickets to the opening and the closing keynotes, we kind of felt like we were getting that time, and so we just wanted to rush and meet authors. You hear, oh, meeting the authors was great, but meeting the people there was even better. And I thought that was kind of a cheesy statement, but it is so true. So I mean, I can read a book in line at at YALLfest, and no one's judging me for having a book on me. Like, that is our people, And I met an engaged couple who I kept running into, and they were so great. And it was so cool to see moms and dads who took their teenagers out of school for a day to come do this, and were just as excited to help them get those autographs and support their love of reading, and that made it so worthwhile.
It did. I mean, I really enjoyed the people that I stood in line far more than anything else over the weekend, which I wasn't expecting because lines are awful. Who really likes to stand in line?
But it was great.
Like Sarah Desson was the first line I got into, and I started talking to these parents and these kids and a librarian, and then I would see them all day Friday, all day Saturday, and you would wave and you would like you had known each other
forever. And it's like, if there's 5,000 people here, how in the world do I keep running into you? But I do, and that's awesome.
So it was a lot of fun. Yeah, I met a grandma who, her granddaughter was like, Grandma, this is what I want for my birthday. I want to go to YALLfest. And here's Grandma sitting on the concrete with me, just like,
in a 2-hour line for Stephanie Perkins or whatever.
So it was, she was just this really cool, the fact that, and I talked to her, I was like, the fact that your daughter, this is what your granddaughter loves, and this is what she's passionate about. Hold on to that.
And
the granddaughter got in line, and I was like, you have the best grandma in the world. She goes,
You thank
I
her.
know. I'm like, no, I want to hear you say thank you. She goes, thank you, Grandma. So
yeah, I hope
really
my
cool.
boys, when they grow up, want to do something like this. I mean, it was really cool. There were a few authors that were such big names that if you wanted to get their autograph, you had to stand in line pretty early. Like, people were getting in line at 5 a.m. and get a wristband and come back at a certain time. That was like Veronica Roth, James Dashner, Sarah Dessen, and Rainbow Rowell. And we chose not to do that just because we wanted to sleep.
Yeah, but you were standing on the side of the street, and there goes Rainbow Rowell, and
Yes.
you're like, hi, Rainbow.
I said hi to her,
Yeah.
and she said hi, and I said, I'm talking to you like you're my best friend, and she just started laughing. Like, that's what's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Emily waited 2.5 hours?
I don't want to talk about this
Okay,
story.
well, I
No,
do.
you can't.
Emily waited 2 to 2.5 hours
hours
for Stephanie Perkins, which was a great experience for her. And I was somewhere else getting a different signature, and when I came to kind of meet up with Emily, who did I bump into on the road but Stephanie Perkins? And I hadn't stood in line at all, so I got a selfie with her, even though I'm like, can I just take a selfie? And that's what's so cool. The authors are mixing with you. They're walking down the street. They're not getting escorted in a limo to their next place. Like, they are as excited to see each other and to meet you as you are to meet them, which is really cool. And we heard that they all do this on their own dime, that they're not getting paid thousands of dollars to do this, which is amazing. So
it was all kind of started by Margaret Stoll, so of the Beautiful Creatures, Cami Garcia.
Yeah, and I think Melissa De La Cruz
is involved in that.
Yeah.
So it's authors that started it,
and
I thought that was really neat as well.
Yeah.
And they talked about how in Charleston there's just this culture of, people love this and love, bringing people in, and the authors love it as much as the people that come, so they're welcome
and
to
what
do
a
it.
beautiful city to go
Oh my
to.
goodness.
The weather was great. I mean, we have a heart for the Carolinas anyway, and so it was just,
want to come back.
we didn't. I wanted to bring a palm tree back that would live. It was just great. So we spent all Saturday getting autographs. Who were some of your favorites that you met?
Well, I'm going to say Stephanie Perkins because I stood in that line so long. And my other one was Alex London. I loved him. He was, and that was a 5-minute, well, I stood in line a little while, but 5 minutes to get in. And he just was so nice and so excited and so enthusiastic. And I'm going to try so hard to get him to my library this holiday. He has family in Kokomo, so we'll see. We'll see. But he was just really cool and laid back and excited to meet you. And,
those were the experiences that were like surprises. That was like, that just made this so awesome. Yeah. For me, my highlight definitely was meeting Erin Hartzler, who wrote Rapture Practice. I was the first one in line, which never happens, but I just really loved his book because it wasn't what I expected to be, and meeting him was such a good experience. Meeting Maya Van Wagenen was a really great experience because she is a 17-year-old who was, just so genuine and so excited, and like her mom was standing with her and her younger brother, and they were excited to see readers that had come to meet her. So those two were really great.
Sarah Dessen, that was who I was most excited.
Yeah.
I've been a Sarah Dessen fan forever.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there were so many.
I met.
Yeah. Anne Brashears. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Marie Lou was genuine. We met Lainey Taylor on the street. You can't miss her because of her bright pink hair.
Glows. Carrie Ryan was fun.
Sweet.
She tried
Carrie
to.
Ryan
My picture
was
of her is
fun.
like she's biting the gnome like a zombie, which I was kind of excited about.
Yes, and I think it was neat for you too because I am kind of author obsessed that like when I read a book I want to see the picture of the author and Emily doesn't. So she was surprised genuinely by what authors look like.
I was like, no,
that is a lot older than I thought, or whatever. I met Varian Johnson, who was so like thrilled that I, as a reader, I had come to meet him. That was a really cool experience. I can't keep his book, My Life as a Rhombus, on the shelf. It's constantly checked out, and it's older. So
that was on a Rosie's a few years ago.
Yeah, it was. So we did all of the author signings, and I mean, be prepared to have snacks on you because there's no time to stop for lunch, and
if you have someone that loves you but does not care at all about what's going on, bring them and stand them in a line while you go to another line, and then you can go meet them. And
there was a lot of tag teaming, and like I mentioned that I met an engaged couple, and like there was at one time where one of them was in a line and I was in a different line, and we swapped with each other. Like I got their book signed when I met Marie Lou, and they got something signed when they met Liva Bray, which by the way, I realized on my library cards that Libba Bray's name was misspelled, and it says Libby Bray, which is why she wrote on it, AKA Libby, or Libba. I'm like, oh my gosh, how embarrassing.
Neener.
I know. But the closing session, the closing keynote was Ali Condi and Sarah Dessen talking. That was fantastic.
Hosted by Brendan Reichs,
which he was a blast.
He's hilarious.
Yeah, and so that was really good. I just really appreciate. I'm bummed I didn't get to meet Ali Condi because that was really great. And then there was a SmackDown where they brought most of the authors back and they played games. Aaron Hartzler hosted an author edition of Hollywood Squares.
That was Gail Foreman
fabulous.
and Adam Gidwitz that ran that whole show.
They hosted that, and that was great.
Adam's great if you want to get someone who's at CYPD if you made it this year,
great.
but he's great if you want to bring him into your library.
Yeah. They played a version of Taboo called Tabook, and it was a junior high student playing with James Dashner and a junior high student playing with Veronica Roth, and that was awesome.
The highlight, so they would put the title of a book on the screen, and the kids had to try only using certain words to get the author to guess it. It was Hamlet. And this girl goes, and she's with Veronica Roth, and this girl starts going, you put it on your sandwich, and I was like, no, this is
not
so
turkey.
great.
Yeah.
There were so many other ways she could have gone about that, but Veronica Roth got it, which was amazing.
Yes. It was just great.
She goes, ham?
And okay,
And
Sarah Dessen, I think, was tweeting like her thoughts of YALLfest, and she described Veronica Roth as an exotic creature. She's like a unicorn and something else together, and she really is. Like Veronica walks in the room and your eyes just go to her and stay there. Like she just looks exquisite.
Yeah.
And
she had leather pants and this bright
bleached hair and neon.
I had no idea what she looked like, so I was like, who is this lady?
You were shocked.
I need to start looking at the back cover to see what an author looks like.
Yeah. The SmackDown at the end did get a little R-rated, and we just looked at that as we deal with teenagers all the time, and so we knew there were like 12-year-olds in the room because we had been around these kids all day, and so that was a little disappointing.
I was a little uncomfortable.
We won't mention any authors' names, but we're like, did you have to take it there? And so that was kind of a bummer. But then Libba Bray and her band played.
Tiger Beat came out and they played.
Yeah.
And she had laryngitis, the poor lady, and she's out there singing.
She was rocking it. She did great.
So it was good. It was really good.
We do recommend that if you're from out of town, that if you have to drive into Charleston like the day of, to park at the visitor center because it's right there. If you want to go somewhere else, in Charleston to eat or whatever, you can take free trolleys. And so
everything's really close within walking distance.
So close.
We did get the chance to walk over to the public library, so we did get to see the library, which was really neat.
Yeah.
Beautiful building.
Yeah. Everyone was very friendly and hopeful. And
they're walking. Are you here for YALLfest?
Yeah, are you here for
Can you tell? I'm carrying the big poster.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, we have backpacks and posters, but it was cool just to be a reader fan, for a couple of days. It was totally worth it. They're actually they announced a YALLwest out in Santa Monica, California. Ransom Riggs and Tierra Mafi are going to be two of the big authors really supporting that.
I don't think we can make
that one. That's in April, it's in the spring.
That's like
that one would be a really cool one.
2 days drive. So.
Yeah.
We did listen to 2 audiobooks.
The nice thing about traveling with another librarian is that you can listen to an audiobook in the car and the other one is okay with that.
Yep.
My husband's always like, really, let's turn this off. But we listened to The Here and Now by Amber Shears on the way down. Am I pronouncing her name right? Okay. And then we gave it like a 3 out of 5. I don't know if we should say that, but and then we listened to Panic by Lauren Oliver on the way back, and I would say like a 4.5 out of 5.
We got a little tense. We're like, oh no!
We're like, no! Like, please don't tell me. Oh, you did. And it was really great, and we really felt like part of the reason that book was so awesome was in the listening. We really liked the audio version of it, so I was kind of hoping that one of the audiobooks would have an accent because I know that's like your pet peeve.
I love an audiobook with an accent.
Oh, you do like it?
I do.
Oh, I thought that was your pet peeve.
No.
Okay, no, it's not. Okay.
I prefer them to have accents. I was a little upset they didn't, but it would have been weird to have a British accent.
Yeah, it wouldn't have fit those two.
No, it wouldn't have.
So, but it was overall such a great experience, and we highly recommend it. And just
start thinking for next November.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll carpool. We'll get a band of Indiana librarians to go down there.
Exactly.
Because I definitely want to go again.
Yeah.
It was good. And now that I've seen some of the big authors,
You don't have to wait for them.
I don't have to wait for
as
them
much.
next year. Stephanie
And you
Perkins, I
really-
loved you, but I never need to wait 2.5 hours.
I know. And you really tried to get Sarah Moss, and you were
did.
in that line forever, and it was just, we were
wasn't
running
moving.
into time. It was gonna
And
run
I
out
had
of
paid
time.
for that keynote, and I was gonna make it,
So we had to give up on that one, which was a bummer, but, so maybe next year.
Next year.
Yeah, Sarah, send us your autograph.
So we are gonna be at YALLfest next week, or
Yes.
this week, I guess, if
Yes.
this comes out on Monday.
Yep.
So hopefully we'll see you there, and we'll kind of do a wrap up next week on what we gathered from YALLfest,
Yeah.
and what breakout sessions we went to. And as always, make sure you leave your comments and questions below, and if you have something you want us to talk about, please let us know, or
Yep.
if you'd like to be on.
That's
shoot.
right.
Let
We
us
are
know
gonna
that
have a
too.
special guest in a couple weeks.
We are. We're not gonna tell.
Yeah.
Are we gonna tell? Or
No.
It's gonna be a surprise.
If you've been watching our videos, you might be able to
Yeah.
figure it out.
I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
So, we'll see you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.